Joining us now is Gayle. Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. I'm so glad that you could take a couple of minutes for us, especially because this is a huge week for you. Number one on the US pop radio charts with
Oh my God.
ABCDEFU.
Crazy. Never heard of it. Never heard of that song before.
Your own biggest hater. I love this energy. This is very good.
Yeah, for sure. I am my biggest hater. It's always funny when people are like, I hate you. I'm like, I hate me more. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
But
whatever you think about me, I've already thought. Like, good luck.
I get that, though. I get that. I mean, every
Yeah.
artist is their own worst critic. And then when you
There's
get,
some things I haven't thought of though. They get creative. Like Twitter be wild, and like somebody called me the emo alphabet girl, and I just never looked myself in the mirror and thought emo alphabet girl, but I love it. That was very funny.
as long as you embrace it, that's the important part, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Now, since you've got your first number one US pop radio chart hit at 17 years old, I mean, you're not old enough to drink yet. So how did you celebrate?
Very legally.
Okay.
um, I stayed at home and did absolutely nothing and ate cookies and hugged my best friend and my mom.
Okay. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I know that, like, real talk though, you probably have a lot of support around you. Tell me, like, when you popped off. I know rappers talk about this all the time, but did you kind of find out who your real friends were?
For sure. I mean, there's people that I thought like there's people I know that aren't like my actual friends. Like you just do music. Like you're friends with them because you do music. And within the scope of like doing music and being friends, like you were friends inside music. And then there's people who just like didn't do anything or like just did some stuff that was just like, oh, okay. I thought we were at least like being like friends, like in the way that we're friends and doing music. Oh, but no, nah, that's not it, you know. But I mean, I also just have like a really great, like small group of people that I absolutely love. Like my best friend, Sarah Davis, who I wrote ABC with, that is my girl. Like that is one of my best friends. My brother is one of my best friends. My brother has a best friend who I love hanging around. Like that, I have a really good support system. So very
That's
grateful for
awesome.
that.
You've said before in other interviews that you feel like it's a good thing when people underestimate you. You like it when people underestimate you, so you can go prove them wrong. And I mean, we already brought up the haters. You've got one hit under your belt. There's gonna be people who are saying, oh, she can't do it again, but you've got an album coming. Do you feel like there's a chip on your shoulder to produce a couple more hits here?
I mean, it's one of those things where I think a hit can be many different things for people. Like, and you can have success in music other than like having a hit song. Like for me, I don't think about music in ways of like making hit songs. I think about music as in connecting with people. And if it happens to go to the radio and go number one, great, I'm not gonna complain, you know? But for me, it's about making the most vulnerable music that I can make. I'm not trying to think about what's going to work best on the radio. I'm just thinking about this is the music I make. Okay, what platforms can this work on?
Definitely. It just occurred to me. I'm just making sure that our setting is set up correctly here. That is spelled forwards for you,
Yes,
right? Okay.
that is absolutely correct.
I was going to say, we're having such a great conversation and I'd hate to do it over again.
So you're doing, you know, I always say some people aren't special enough to have gay in their name, and I am the chosen one, and I'm good with it.
Fair enough. I mean, that is true. Hey, speaking of your name, I try to ask this lately to artists who have 5-letter names.
Mhm.
Have you been playing Wordle lately? Have you been?
No, I actually just found out what Wordle is. Like when I did a writing trip in LA and I was in the room with 2 writers, and then they're just like, what's your Wordle? We have to do Wordle. And I was like, what's Wordle? Wordle? What? And then also like I have dyslexia, so like spelling games ain't my cup of tea. No shot in trying. I just get frustrated so fast.
So you haven't even like tried it at all?
We don't even try. I love that for other people, and I'll be the support that they need when they fail or succeed, but that's not for me.
Okay. Now I got to do my job here as a media guy. This is
Yeah.
what media guys have to ask you, and I do apologize in advance. Song has been out for, months now, whatever. It's taken over the world. Have you heard from the person it's about?
I have not actually. We blocked each other on everything.
Okay.
And so we just kind of got to the point where, I mean, I don't know if he blocked me back. He probably did, but I just woke up one day and I just thought about everything he did. And I was like, why do I care so much about him being in my life? Why did I care? Why did I work so hard when he never cared in the first place? You know, he never really actually cared. And so I just woke up and was like, and I love drama. I love a big fight. And I knew I couldn't have that conversation in a healthy way. And so I just woke up one day and was like, you're out of my life. There it is. We're done. We're gone. That's it. And we just kind of stuck to that.
It shows you too that you made the right decision, because, you know, here you are with the #1 hit and he still hasn't reached out to say, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, at this point too, like, I think it's better for the both of us if we just don't say anything at all. I hope he's happy. I'm happy. And we're just not happy together. And that's awesome.
That is. You're part of a larger wave too of artists who are kind of embracing that. Like Olivia Rodrigo is another really good example, both sonically and lyrically. Somebody who sounds rock and roll influenced and realizes, you know, detachment is a very good topic for songs sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, Good For You by her is very similar in a sort of way to ABCDEFU by you. So do you see this sort of trend of rock infused pop continuing?
For sure. I think more than anything, even if you don't look at it as a genre, I think even lyrically, just having things that like cut through has definitely been something that's been like coming up more and more. And even just saying the most shocking thing or what's the most interesting thing you can say, and especially like 50 years ago, women weren't necessarily allowed to be outspokenly angry, and that was going to be embraced by open arms. Even 40 years ago, 30 years ago, that wasn't necessarily something that a young woman can, especially with these two songs like ABC and even like Good For You. Those aren't necessary. You don't know the gender of the person we're necessarily mad at, but at the end of the day, we both know that it's being outspokenly angry at men or at specific boys, and like that wasn't necessarily something that was going to be like completely accepted by society and by people. And so I think that is something that young women are seeing being embraced with open arms, because that's something that has never been embraced really before, and women haven't had the freedom to be that outspoken. Even the women that were outspoken, that even paved the way for women like me and Olivia Rodrigo to come out and say the things we want to say, they had so much more criticism than they did, and there's still so much criticism now, you know. And so I think it's now the time more than ever to keep continuing paving the way, so younger women that are growing up right now can see what's going on and just continue to be pushing everything forward.
Yeah. I'd love to hear a quick take on this part of the question too. Do you see yourself as a pop artist who incorporates rock elements, or do you see yourself as a rock artist who has gone mainstream and is a pop artist?
I think even if you break down what pop music is popular music. So technically anything that is popular could be considered under the scopes of pop music. So the way I think about it, I do what I do. And then if it becomes popular, it's pop music. And I really love like the hookiness of pop music. And that's something that like inspires me. And so for me, I don't necessarily think of it as like this genre is this genre into this. It's like, I do what I do. I've been inspired by many genres just from growing up and listening to more and more music. And at times it can definitely have alternative leaning things and it can have pop leaning things, but it's just, I do what I do. And if it becomes popular, it's pop. And if it doesn't, it just is what it is.
Extremely well said. I can't find anything to disagree with there.
Appreciate that.
As we move into, let's call this Act 3 now, the future for Gayle.
Okay.
Yeah. Act 3, lights, camera, curtain,
Thanks, come
action.
in. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. Yes. We look to the future where you're going on tour with some of my favorite artists. Mimi Webb, love her. Tate McRae, love her.
So
AJR,
good.
love them. And you fit right in with that crowd because you all you're all part of this sort of this spirit of independent-ish music making. I mean, you're all signed to major labels and you're all having great success, but I believe I'm allowed to do this. There's a big sense of this in everybody's music. There's a big that in everybody in that lineup. So that's such a great fit for you. Do you feel like going on tour with these artists helps alleviate some of the pressure of your first, nationwide tour?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I don't even see it as pressure. Obviously there's pressure, and I always also from a young age to put pressure onto myself. So I feel like very comfortable in pressure because it's just always been there for me, you know? But I think if anything, like it's just exciting that I have the ability to like connect with an audience, you know? And like I understand the fact that people aren't going to be there always to see me. Like I know my place as an opener, and I'm just excited to like have the possibility of just like talking to people and opening up to them and have the possibility of them connecting with me. And that's just very exciting. And I love the music, and I'm so excited to get to hear their shows every night because it's always awesome and it never really gets old.
Yeah. And you've got an album of your own coming out on March 18th. What can fans of yours and future fans of yours who haven't quite checked out your stuff beyond ABC yet, what can they expect?
I definitely have a song that I reproduced that's already out. I'm not gonna say which one though, but that's cool. And I also have a possibility of some features on that project that I'm really stoked about. Really stoked about. Even with ABC, for me to have the possibility of being that angry at somebody, I had to love them so much, like so much. And so because of that, like I'm excited to kind of talk about those other perspectives. And I've made mistakes in my love life and a relationship and dating, and I've just made mistakes in life in general. And so those mistakes that I make have long-term effects on me in the way I view relationships. And so just kind of talking about that as well, like one thing leads to the other. And I'm excited about that. And also just having the possibility of maybe having a volume 2.
I hope so. I mean, we can't wait to hear volume 1, so I guess we'll go one step at a time. But when volume 2 drops, you know, we'll keep an ear out for that one too.
Maybe so, maybe so.
Maybe. Well, Gayle, it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you, chatting about your music, chatting about your life. And I know you've done this a lot now. So, I mean, get ready for a life under the microscope, I guess, because you've got a long career ahead of you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I hope so. That's the goal. Thank you for being so lovely. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Oh, and thank you for this, by the way.
Oh my gosh, of course. My mom made it. I wish I could take credit for
really?
it. My mom did it. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Mom. Big shout out.
Yeah, right.
All right. Hey, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much. I hope you do as well.